There's a political firestorm ripping through the south suburbs, and right in the eye of it, Tiffany Henyard. Once hailed as a rising star, she crowned herself the super mayor, selling promises of transparency, accountability, and a people-first agenda. To many, she looked like the change local politics have been starving for, young, bold, and ready to smash through old corruption. She said all the right things, posed all the right ways, carried herself like the people's champion. But that shiny image, it's falling apart, fast. The cape is gone. The scandals are piling up. And now she faces something no selfie, no press stunt, and no spin machine can cover up, a federal investigation closing in. This week alone, the chaos got louder. The Illinois State Comptroller froze all state payments to Dalton. The reason? Dalton failed to turn in mandatory financial records, documents required by law. And let's not kid ourselves. This isn't some clerical oops. This is a 5-alarm fire. It signals a full-blown collapse. No paperwork, no transparency, no oversight, which means no access to state funding. That's not a mistake. That's leadership on life support, live and in real time. Meanwhile, more smoke rises around how taxpayer money has been spent or flat out misused. Thornton Township funds were reportedly funneled into trips that had nothing to do with township business. One glaring example, a national mayor's conference meant strictly for city officials. Yet somehow, township reps ended up on the list. That's not a scheduling error. That's strategy. A move dripping with corruption. And with Henyard already under federal heat, this isn't conspiracy. It's the opening round of an ugly showdown. Trust me, the script hasn't even hit its climax yet. Back in Dalton, the streets are buzzing with tension. The same residents who once cheered Henyard's name are now flooding meetings with anger. The community that once saw her as a savior now shows up with protest signs, fueled by betrayal. Public forums don't feel like town halls anymore. They're battlefields. And her allies? Fading. Quietly switching sides, some even flipping outright. Because when the feds start circling, loyalty dries up overnight. Everyone's in self-preservation mode. At a recent township board meeting, that bubbling rage finally boiled over. The energy was explosive. Residents shouted. Trustees sat frozen. The finances? A straight-up disaster zone. People didn't call it poor planning. They called it betrayal. Whistleblowers who tried to raise alarms got shut down with threats. Some employees who spoke up were fired instantly. This isn't sloppy management. This is a death of public trust, the kind of poison that seeps through an entire government. And then came the jaw-dropper. Over $33,000 allegedly spent on Amazon in one single day. Not a year, not a quarter, a single day. That's not a typo, and it's not an accident. That's abuse of power in broad daylight. It screams arrogance. I can do what I want, and nobody can stop me. That's not serving the people. That's flexing on them. What it exposed was clear. This wasn't leadership anymore. This was self-indulgence, charged straight to the taxpayers. But the real damage isn't just financial. It's emotional. The community she swore to fight for is devastated. What started as a movement of hope has rotted into betrayal. People truly believed Henyard would be the one to finally champion the forgotten. Instead, they got smoke and mirrors. They got deception. They got a leader who sold them a dream and cashed out on their trust. One of the few brave voices to call it out was Carmen Carroll, a whistleblower who didn't just hear the dysfunction, she lived inside it. And instead of staying quiet, she chose the unthinkable. She spoke up. The price? Immediate retaliation. Careers wrecked. Fear ruling the workplace. Inside Henyard's circle, loyalty wasn't earned. It was enforced. Question her? You're iced out. Challenge her? You're crushed. Tell the truth? You're erased. This isn't leadership. It's control. And finally, the mask is slipping in full view. What was supposed to be a new beginning has curdled into a nightmare. A cautionary tale unfolding right in front of us. This is what happens when power runs unchecked, when transparency gets tossed in the trash. Decisions made behind closed doors. Public meetings staged like theater. Residents locked out, their voices ignored, their truths buried under spin. But the press wouldn't let it die. Reporters kept digging, peeling back layers, and everyone revealed another scandal. Behind the polished smiles and speeches, a government was crumbling in daylight. And now, the feds are circling, subpoenas stacking, federal agents knocking on doors. The heat is rising, and there's no hiding anymore. What once looked like confidence now reeks of manipulation. Meanwhile, Henyard scrambles to rewrite the story. Public comments cut off. Reporters stonewalled. Narrative spun on the fly. But the cracks? Too deep to cover. The damage? Already done. The trust? Gone for good. And the fallout? Blowing up in real time. The woman who crowned herself the people's mayor is being exposed as the opposite. Because in the end, it's the people who paid the price. Lavish trips. VIP perks. Excess at every turn. All bankrolled by the very residents she promised to fight for. Henyard talked like a champion of the people. But her actions screamed something different. She was out for herself. And then came the plot twist no one saw coming. The Good Burger Facebook fiasco. Years ago, Henyard owned a little burger joint called Good Burger. It closed, but the Facebook page didn't vanish. Instead, it magically rebranded into the Tiffany Henyard Cares Cancer Foundation. Same page, same admin, same login. When residents asked legit questions about the foundation, Henyard flat out denied everything, straight-faced. But the online receipts told a completely different story. And here's the kicker. Once the feds sniff possible charity fraud, the game changes. This isn't bad optics. This is criminal territory. Within 2 weeks, the FBI blasted out 5 subpoenas. 5, aimed squarely at Dalton and Thornton Township. One focused on a private security detail, where one officer allegedly clocked over 300 hours in just 14 days. Do the math. That's over 21 hours a day. Every day. No breaks. Impossible. And now the feds want answers. Dalton officials have been hit with the hammer, ordered to hand over everything. Every record. Every document. Deadline May 20th. No delays. No excuses. This isn't a polite request. It's the law kicking down the door. This is what collapse looks like. Not slow. Not quiet. But loud, fast, and ruthless. That super mayor crown Tiffany Henyard once wore? Gone. Replaced with subpoenas stacked sky high and federal heat breathing down her neck. And this isn't drama for gossip blogs. This is real money. Real families. Real lives burned by greed. And now, stripped of her office, stripped of her shield, Henyard stands as nothing more than a private citizen, one staring down a tidal wave of consequences. The question now? Does Tiffany fade away as another corrupt politician who flew too close to the sun? Or is she scheming for one final stunt, one last desperate twist to save herself? Because make no mistake, the empire she built, the speeches, the photo ops, the brand, it isn't just falling apart. It's exploding in public, for everyone to see. Dalton doesn't need another scandal headline. It needs healing. It needs leaders who actually serve. But instead, the people are left with broken trust, shattered hope, and stolen voices. And what they want now, more than anything, is accountability. As subpoenas pile up and insiders start flipping, one thing is crystal clear. The saga isn't even close to over. The biggest bombshells? They might still be waiting in the wings. Will Henyard vanish into scandal shadows like so many before her? Or will she stage one last chaotic act? Either way, the mess isn't finished. If the past has taught us anything, the next chapter is about to be even uglier. Because when Super Mayor ends up drowning in subpoenas, it's not just a fall from grace. It's total implosion. Dalton isn't just facing mismanagement. It's living through betrayal, fueled by ego, enabled by silence, protected by unchecked power. Tiffany Henyard came in polished, confident, selling change. But underneath that shine, a darker truth. And now the people are stuck paying the bill. What began with hope has ended with heartbreak. Dalton put their faith in her, their trust, their vote, and Henyard flipped it. Not to build a community, but to build herself. A brand, a spotlight, a lifestyle. The glossy photo shoots, the headlines, the speeches, they looked like progress until the receipts dropped. Flights, luxury dinners, shopping sprees, a mayor more obsessed with control than results. And when even your closest allies start running for cover, that's checkmate. Loyalty doesn't survive federal subpoenas. It evaporates the moment the FBI starts knocking. That $33,300 Amazon bill in a single day wasn't some typo. It wasn't an accident. It was entitlement. Straight greed, charged of the very people who trusted her most. But the deepest wound isn't financial, it's betrayal. Whistleblowers like Carmen Carroll risked everything to tell the truth. And for daring to speak up, they were silenced, fired, erased. Her story exposed what Dalton was really living under, not leadership, but fear, not accountability, but arrogance, not governance, but intimidation dressed up as power. And now, with the mask ripped off, the implosion is undeniable. The travel, the firings, the Facebook Foundation, the lawsuits. Every headline confirms the same thing. Henyard wasn't leading. She was acting. Each week brings another crack in the facade. Each subpoena closes in tighter. Dalton isn't just losing a mayor. It's losing faith in the entire system. And the real tragedy? It didn't have to be this way. If questions had been asked sooner, if oversight had stepped up, if leaders had remembered who they were supposed to serve. But now, the FBI's clock is ticking. The final chapter is already being written. The only suspense left? How Tiffany exits the stage. Will she go down quietly, another corrupt name in Illinois history? Or is she plotting one last wild stunt to flip the script? Whatever comes next, one thing is certain. Dalton deserves better. And this story? It's nowhere near finished.